Hey Taurus, welcome back to the channel. I need to share something with you today because the energy coming through in this reading is absolutely profound. Before we dive in, I want you to take a deep breath with me because what we're about to explore together is going to reveal some deeply personal truths about what's been happening in your spiritual journey and how certain people around you have been affected by your light. So I'm sitting here with my deck, and the moment I connected with your energy, Taurus, I could feel this heaviness, but also this incredible strength radiating from you. It's like you've been carrying something that wasn't yours to carry, and the universe is finally ready to show you exactly what's been going on behind the scenes. This reading is going to be about spiritual persecution, about people who are in complete denial about their own inner turmoil, and about the unexpected events that are about to unfold in ways that will completely shift the dynamic. Let me just say this up front because I think you need to hear it right now. You haven't done anything wrong. The intensity you've been feeling, that sense of being targeted or misunderstood, it's real. And the cards are about to validate everything you've been sensing on a soul level. All right, let me pull the first card for you. I'm asking the universe to show me what's been happening on a spiritual level that maybe you haven't been able to fully see or understand. And here we have strength coming through as the very first card. Now, when I see strength in this position, especially with the energy we're working with today, this is telling me something really important about you, Taurus. This card is about inner power, about quiet resilience, about the ability to face challenges, not with aggression, but with a calm, centered presence. And what I'm picking up here is that your very existence, your very way of being, has been triggering something deep within certain people around you. Think about what strength really represents. It's that image of the gentle hand taming the lion, right? It's about mastering yourself, about having control over your lower impulses, about choosing love and compassion even when things get difficult. And here's what's fascinating, Taurus. When someone possesses this kind of energy, when someone is doing their inner work and really embodying this balanced, authentic power, it can be absolutely threatening to people who haven't done that work themselves. The spiritual persecution you've experienced, it hasn't been about anything you did wrong. It's been about what you represent. Your strength, your ability to stay centered, your refusal to engage in drama or lower your vibration to match someone else's chaos. This has been like holding up a mirror to people who don't want to see their own reflection. And that's exactly what's been happening. I'm seeing that there's been someone, or maybe even multiple people, who have been projecting their own internal battles onto you. They see your calm and they interpret it as weakness. They see your compassion and they mistake it for naivety. They see your boundaries and they experience it as rejection. But here's the thing that the Strength card is really emphasizing for me right now. You have maintained your integrity through all of this. The lion in this card represents raw emotion, primal energy, instinctual reactions, and the figure taming the lion isn't doing it through force or violence. She's doing it through gentle persistence, through unwavering presence, through love. That's been you, Taurus. Even when people have tried to provoke you, even when they've attempted to pull you into their chaos, you've managed to keep your composure. You've managed to stay true to who you are. And I want you to understand something really crucial here. This kind of spiritual strength, this kind of inner mastery, it doesn't go unnoticed by the universe. Every time you chose peace over conflict, every time you chose silence over retaliation, every time you chose to hold your boundaries with grace rather than aggression, you were building something. You were building spiritual currency. You were building karmic protection. You were building a foundation that cannot be shaken. But let me tell you what else this card is showing me. There's been a cost to all of this, hasn't there? Maintaining this level of strength, especially when you're being spiritually attacked or persecuted, it's exhausting. You've had moments where you've questioned yourself. You've had moments where you've wondered if maybe you were being too sensitive, too guarded, too much, and the Strength card is here to tell you absolutely not. Your intuition has been spot on. The persecution you've felt, it's been real, and it's been happening on multiple levels. There's the surface level where maybe you've experienced gossip, exclusion, passive-aggressive behavior, people trying to undermine your confidence or your reputation. But then there's this deeper spiritual level where I'm sensing that there have been people who have been literally sending negative energy your way. Whether they're conscious of it or not, their jealousy, their resentment, their fear of your light, it's been directed at you like psychic arrows. And here's what makes your strength so remarkable, Taurus. You've been able to transmute that energy. You haven't absorbed it and let it poison you from the inside. You've felt it, you've acknowledged it, but you've managed to transform it into something else. Maybe into wisdom, maybe into deeper compassion, maybe into a stronger sense of who you are and what you stand for. Let me pull the next card because I want to see more about these people who have been in denial about their own internal destruction. And wow, okay, we have the Eight of Cups here, and this is fascinating. The Eight of Cups is one of the most emotionally complex cards in the entire deck. It's about walking away, about leaving behind something that no longer serves you, about having the courage to turn your back on situations that look good on the surface but feel empty on a soul level. And in this context, with what we're exploring about spiritual persecution and people in denial, this card is revealing something really profound about the dynamic that's been playing out. Here's what I'm seeing, Taurus. While you have been doing the work, while you have been facing your shadows and choosing growth and embodying that strength energy we just talked about, there have been people in your life who have been doing the exact opposite. They've been running, they've been avoiding, they've been choosing to stay in situations and patterns and mindsets that are slowly destroying them from the inside out. The Eight of Cups shows a figure walking away from 8 perfectly stacked cups. On the surface, everything looks fine. The cups are intact, they're organized, they represent emotional fulfillment and satisfaction. But the figure knows that something essential is missing. The soul knows that staying in this situation means spiritual death. So they walk away, even though it's difficult, even though it means leaving behind what's familiar. Now here's the contrast that's really striking me. You have been willing to walk away from what doesn't serve you. You've been willing to do the Eight of Cups work. You've been willing to leave behind relationships, situations, patterns, beliefs that were keeping you small or draining your energy. And this willingness to let go, this willingness to evolve, it's part of what's been triggering the people around you. Because when you do the Eight of Cups work, when you have the courage to walk away from what's familiar for the sake of your soul's growth, you're essentially showing other people what's possible. You're demonstrating that change is possible, that growth is possible, that you don't have to stay stuck in patterns that are killing your spirit. And for people who are not ready to do that work, who are deeply invested in staying in their comfort zone, no matter how uncomfortable it actually is your evolution becomes threatening. I'm picking up that there's been someone specifically, or maybe a group of people, who have watched you walk away from things that they themselves are still clinging to. Maybe it's a toxic dynamic, maybe it's a limiting belief system, maybe it's a way of living that looks successful on the outside, but feels hollow on the inside. And instead of being inspired by your courage, instead of using your example as motivation for their own growth, they've chosen to attack you for it. This is the denial the reading is speaking about. These people are in such deep denial about their own unhappiness, their own stagnation, their own spiritual bankruptcy, that they've had to make you the villain in their story. Because if they acknowledged that you made a brave choice, if they admitted that walking away from what doesn't serve you is an act of self-love and wisdom, then they would have to confront their own cowardice in staying. So instead, they've rewritten the narrative, they've convinced themselves, and maybe tried to convince others that you're the problem. You're too proud, you're too isolated, you're too judgmental, you think you're better than everyone else. They've created this whole story about you that justifies their own stagnation and allows them to avoid looking at their own reflection. But here's what the Eight of Cups is really revealing, Taurus. While they've been focused on you, while they've been investing their energy in persecuting you or talking about you or trying to diminish you, they've been neglecting their own journey. They've been so busy pointing fingers outward that they haven't noticed the destruction happening within. The cups in their own life are starting to crack. The foundation they've been standing on is beginning to crumble, and they're in such profound denial that they can't see it coming. The Eight of Cups is also showing me something about emotional maturity. This is a card about knowing when to fold, about understanding that sometimes walking away is the strongest thing you can do. And there's a level of emotional intelligence required to make that choice. You have to be able to sit with disappointment. You have to be able to grieve what could have been. You have to be able to tolerate the discomfort of the unknown. The people who have been persecuting you spiritually, they don't have this level of emotional maturity. They're still operating from a place of ego, from a place of fear, from a place of needing external validation and control. And your ability to walk away from what doesn't serve you, your ability to be okay with other people not understanding your choices, it highlights their own emotional immaturity in a way that's deeply uncomfortable for them. Let me pull another card because I want to see what's coming, what these unexpected events are that the universe is preparing to bring into this situation. And we have death here, and I know that might sound intense, but stay with me because this is actually incredibly positive for you, Taurus. The death card is about transformation, about endings that make way for new beginnings, about the absolute necessity of letting old forms die so that new life can emerge. And in the context of this reading about spiritual persecution and people destroying themselves from within through denial, this card is showing me that massive change is on the horizon. Here's what I need you to understand about the death card. It doesn't mess around. When death shows up, it means that something has run its course. The universe has decided that a chapter is closing, and there's nothing anyone can do to prevent it. Whatever has been happening in this situation, whatever dynamics have been playing out, whatever patterns have been repeating, they're about to come to an abrupt and permanent end. For the people who have been persecuting you, for the people who have been in denial about their own internal destruction, the death card is showing me that their reckoning is coming. The structure they've been trying so hard to maintain, the facade they've been presenting to the world, the lies they've been telling themselves, it's all about to collapse. And it's going to happen in a way that they cannot ignore, cannot deny, cannot run from. I'm seeing that these unexpected events that are coming, they're going to force these people to finally confront what they've been avoiding. The death card has this quality of inevitability to it. When it's your time to transform, when it's your time to face the truth, the universe will create circumstances that make it impossible to keep hiding. And that's what's about to happen here. Think about what death represents in nature. It's the winter that must come before spring. It's the seed that must break apart before the plant can grow. It's the caterpillar that must dissolve in the cocoon before it can become a butterfly. It's not punishment, it's transformation. But it can feel devastating if you're attached to the old form, if you're not ready to let go. And these people, Taurus, they're not ready. They've been clinging so hard to their version of reality, to their denial, to their projection of their problems onto you. They've built their entire sense of self around this false narrative. And when death comes through and dismantles all of that, when the truth can no longer be avoided, it's going to feel catastrophic to them. But here's what's important for you to understand. This death energy, these unexpected events, they're not about you getting revenge or watching someone suffer. That's not the energy here at all. This is about the natural consequences of refusing to grow, of refusing to do your inner work, of choosing denial over truth. The universe is simply bringing balance. It's ensuring that everyone receives the lessons they need in order to evolve. The death card is also showing me that this transformation is going to clear the way for something beautiful in your life, Taurus. All of this energy that's been tied up in this dynamic, all of this spiritual and emotional bandwidth that's been consumed by dealing with persecution and negativity, it's about to be freed up. When death comes through and closes this chapter definitively, you're going to feel like you can finally breathe again. You're going to feel like a weight has been lifted that you didn't even fully realize you were carrying. I'm also picking up that the death card is confirming something you've probably already known on some level. The situation, whatever it is, whoever it involves, it's beyond saving. There's no amount of explaining you could do, no amount of boundary setting, no amount of trying to help these people see the truth. That would change the trajectory. It's done, it's over, and the death card is giving you permission to fully accept that and to turn your attention toward what's coming next. Now, what's really interesting about death in this position is that It's also speaking to a death of your old self in some ways. Not in a negative way, but in the sense that you are not the same person you were when this persecution began. You have been through a spiritual initiation of sorts. You have been tested, challenged, attacked even, and you have emerged stronger, wiser, more clear about who you are and what you stand for. The person who needed these people's approval or understanding, that person is dying. The person who second-guessed themselves or wondered if maybe they were the problem, that person is dying. The person who felt responsible for managing other people's emotions or protecting them from the consequences of their own choices, that person is dying. And in their place, a more empowered, more authentic, more sovereign version of you is being born. Let me pull the next card because I want to see more specifically about how this destruction from within is manifesting for these people who have been in denial. And we have the Eight of Wands here, and this is telling me that things are about to accelerate rapidly. The Eight of Wands is the card of swift action, of sudden movement, of things happening very quickly. When I see this card, I think of arrows flying through the air, all heading toward their target with speed and precision. There's no stopping the Eight of Wands energy. It's momentum that has built up and is now being released all at once. So here's what this is showing me about these unexpected events that are coming. They're not going to unfold slowly or give people time to prepare or adjust. This is going to be fast. One day, things are going to seem relatively stable, relatively manageable, and then suddenly everything is going to start moving at once. Communications are going to come through, truths are going to be revealed, situations are going to shift, and it's all going to happen in rapid succession. For the people who have been persecuting you spiritually, who have been in denial about their own internal chaos, the Eight of Wands is showing me that their house of cards is about to collapse quickly. All of the things they've been trying to keep hidden, all of the problems they've been ignoring, all of the consequences they've been outrunning, it's all going to catch up with them at once. I'm seeing multiple situations converging simultaneously. Maybe it's issues in different areas of their life all coming to a head at the same time. Maybe it's multiple people finally speaking up about things that have been kept quiet. Maybe it's circumstances aligning in a way that exposes truth that's been carefully concealed. Whatever the specific details are, the Eight of Wands is saying it's going to be overwhelming for them. And here's what's significant about this, Taurus. While they've been focused on you, while they've been directing their negative energy and attention toward persecuting you or undermining you, they haven't been paying attention to their own life. They haven't been maintaining their own foundation. They haven't been addressing their own problems. And now all of those neglected issues are about to demand attention all at once. The Eight of Wands often represents information, communication, messages. So I'm also picking up that there's going to be a flood of information or communication happening. Maybe things that have been said in private are going to become public. Maybe lies that have been told are going to be contradicted by facts that emerge. Maybe people who have been silent are going to start speaking. There's this sense of truth moving very quickly and nothing being able to stop it. What I find really interesting about the Eight of Wands in this position is that it's showing me that you're not going to have to do anything to make this happen, Taurus. You're not going to have to expose anyone, defend yourself, or prove anything. The energy itself is going to do the work. The momentum that's been building, the karmic consequences that have been accumulating, they're going to be released naturally and swiftly. This is divine timing in action. The Eight of Wands doesn't show up randomly. It shows up when the universe has decided that it's time for rapid movement and change, when the energy has built up to a point where it must be released. And that's exactly what's happening here. Everything that's been brewing under the surface is about to break through all at once. I'm also seeing that the Eight of Wands is bringing clarity to you, Taurus. You're going to understand things that maybe confused you before. You're going to see connections between events that weren't obvious. You're going to receive information or insights that help you make sense of why certain things happened the way they did. And this clarity is going to come quickly. It's not going to be a slow unfolding. It's going to be more like lightning strikes of understanding. For these people who are destroying themselves from within, the Eight of Wands suggests that their denial is about to become impossible to maintain. When everything starts happening at once, when multiple areas of their life are demanding attention, when consequences can no longer be avoided or postponed, denial stops working as a coping mechanism. They're going to be forced to see reality as it actually is, and that's going to be jarring for them. But again, I want to emphasize something. This reading isn't about celebrating someone else's downfall or difficulties. That's not the energy of authentic spiritual growth. What this is about is understanding that there are natural laws at play in the universe. What you send out comes back. The energy you project into the world has consequences. And when you choose to persecute someone spiritually, when you choose to deny your own issues and project them onto others, when you choose to destroy rather than create, there are going to be results from those choices. The Eight of Wands is simply showing me that those results are about to manifest very clearly and very quickly. And while it might seem sudden to the people experiencing it, to the universe, it's perfectly timed. Everything has been building to this moment. Every choice, every action, every thought and intention has been creating this outcome. The Eight of Wands is just the release of all that accumulated energy. Let me pull another card because I want to understand more about what's happening on the spiritual level with this persecution. And here we have the Ten of Pentacles. And this is incredibly significant. The Ten of Pentacles is the card of legacy, of what we build that lasts beyond us, of family and ancestry and long-term stability. It represents the culmination of effort, the rewards of consistent work, the creation of something solid and enduring. When I see this card, I think about foundations, about what we leave behind, about the structures we create that support multiple generations. And in the context of this reading about spiritual persecution, the Ten of Pentacles is revealing something profound about what you've actually been building during this time, Taurus. While these people have been focused on tearing you down, while they've been investing their energy in persecution and denial and destruction, you have been building something real and lasting. The spiritual persecution you've experienced, as difficult as it's been, it hasn't stopped you from creating value in your life. It hasn't prevented you from building your foundation. It hasn't derailed you from your path. And the Ten of Pentacles is showing me that what you've been building, it's solid, it's real, it has longevity. It's not flash without substance. It's not appearance without reality. It's the genuine article. I'm picking up that part of why you've been persecuted is specifically because of what you're building. The Ten of Pentacles represents success, prosperity, stability, security. It represents having your affairs in order, having created something of value, having established yourself in a meaningful way. And for people who are destroying themselves from within, who are in denial about their own stagnation, watching someone else build something real can be absolutely triggering. They look at your Ten of Pentacles energy, your stability, your progress, your foundation, and it highlights everything they haven't built for themselves. It reflects back to them all the time they've wasted, all the opportunities they've missed, all the potential they've squandered. And instead of using that as motivation, instead of taking responsibility for their own choices, they've attempted to persecute you for having what they want but haven't been willing to work for. The Ten of Pentacles is also speaking to me about spiritual legacy and generational patterns. There's something here about breaking cycles, about refusing to perpetuate dysfunction, about choosing to create a different kind of foundation than what you might have inherited. And this kind of pattern-breaking work, it can be very threatening to people who are still invested in maintaining those old patterns. When you do deep ancestral healing work, when you choose to break generational curses, when you decide that certain patterns of behavior or belief or relating end with you, you're essentially holding up a mirror to everyone around you who hasn't done that work. You're showing them what's possible, but you're also showing them what they're choosing not to do. And that can generate a lot of hostility. I'm also seeing that the Ten of Pentacles is confirming that your efforts have not been in vain, Taurus. Even though you've been dealing with persecution, even though there have been people trying to undermine you or diminish your light, you have continued to build. You have continued to create value. You have continued to invest in your own growth in your own life. And that consistency, that dedication, it has created something that cannot be taken from you. The Ten of Pentacles represents what is truly yours, what you've earned through your own effort and integrity. And one of the beautiful things about this card is that what you build with genuine effort, what you create from a place of authenticity and alignment, it cannot be destroyed by external forces. Other people might try to tear it down, they might gossip or lie or scheme, but they cannot touch what is truly yours on a soul level. What I'm also picking up from the Ten of Pentacles is that there's a community aspect here, a sense of being supported by people who genuinely care about you and see your value. While you may have experienced persecution from certain individuals, the Ten of Pentacles suggests that you're not alone. There are people in your corner, people who have witnessed your character, people who know the truth about who you are. And these people, this genuine community, they're part of your foundation too. The contrast here is really striking when I think about it in relation to these people who are destroying themselves from within. You have been building community, building support, building real relationships based on authenticity and mutual respect. They have been building facades, building alliances based on shared toxicity or gossip, building connections that have no real foundation. Your Ten of Pentacles is solid. Theirs is built on sand. And when those unexpected events come through, when the Eight of Wands energy hits and things start moving rapidly, when the death transformation occurs and old structures collapse, the difference is going to be so clear. You have a foundation that can withstand storms. You have built something real. They have been maintaining an illusion, and illusions cannot survive the harsh light of truth. The Ten of Pentacles is also speaking to me about divine protection. There's something about this card that suggests you've been protected throughout this persecution in ways you might not even fully realize. The attempts to harm you spiritually, they haven't been able to penetrate your foundation. The negative energy that's been sent your way, it hasn't been able to disrupt what you've built. It's like you've had this invisible shield around you, this spiritual protection that comes from being in alignment with your highest good. Let me pull the next card because I want to see what else is being revealed about these people's denial and self-destruction. And we have Judgment here. And Taurus, this is huge. Judgment is the card of reckoning, of being called to account, of facing the truth of who you've been and what you've done. It's about resurrection in some ways, about having the opportunity to rise to a higher version of yourself, but it's also about being unable to hide from your choices anymore. When judgment appears, it's saying that a moment of absolute clarity and truth is at hand. In the context of these people who have been persecuting you spiritually, who have been in denial about their own internal destruction, judgment is showing me that their day of reckoning is coming. Everything they've done, every intention they've held, every action they've taken, it's all about to be brought into the light. And not just the light of human awareness, but the light of divine truth. They're going to have to face themselves in a way they've never had to before. The Judgment card doesn't allow for any more excuses or justifications or rationalization. When this energy comes through, you see yourself and your choices with absolute clarity. You understand the impact you've had on others. You recognize the patterns you've been running. You acknowledge the truth you've been avoiding. And for people who have built their entire identity around denial, who have invested so much in maintaining a false narrative, this is going to be devastating. I'm seeing that these unexpected events that are coming, they're not random chaos. They're divinely orchestrated moments of truth. The universe has been watching everything unfold. Every act of persecution against you has been witnessed. Every moment of their denial has been noted. And Judgment is saying that the time has come for them to face the consequences of their choices. What's really significant about Judgment in this position is that it represents a point of no return. Once you've had your judgment moment, once you've seen the truth with that kind of clarity, you cannot unsee it. You cannot go back to the comfortable delusion. You're fundamentally changed by the experience. And for these people who have been destroying themselves from within through their denial and their persecution of you, this change is going to be profound and unavoidable. The Judgment card is also showing me that there's a spiritual component to this that goes beyond just human justice or karma. This is about their soul's evolution. On some level, even though their ego personality has been persecuting you and denying their own issues, their higher self has been calling for this moment. Their soul has been trying to get their attention, trying to wake them up, trying to pull them out of the destructive patterns they've been stuck in. And when the soul decides it's time for transformation, when the higher self decides that enough is enough, it will orchestrate whatever experiences are necessary to create that shift. The persecution they've engaged in, the denial they've maintained, these things have brought them to a point where intervention is necessary. And judgment is that intervention playing out. For you, Taurus, the judgment card is also significant. It's showing me that you are going to witness this reckoning, but not in a way that requires you to be involved in it. You're not going to have to defend yourself or prove anything. The truth is going to defend itself. The judgment energy is going to reveal what needs to be revealed without any effort on your part. Your role is simply to observe and to continue focusing on your own path. I'm also picking up that judgment is bringing you a kind of vindication. Not in an egotistical way, but in the sense that your intuition is going to be validated. Everything you sensed about this situation, everything you felt about these people's true intentions, everything you knew on a soul level about what was really happening, it's all going to be confirmed. And there's a freedom that comes with that kind of validation, a permission to trust yourself even more deeply. The judgment card is also about forgiveness in its highest form. Not the kind of forgiveness where you condone what was done or allow it to continue, but the kind where you understand that everyone is on their own journey and facing their own lessons. You can release any attachment to how their story unfolds. You can let go of any need for them to understand or acknowledge what they did. You can simply trust that the universe is handling it and move forward with your own life. What I find really powerful about judgment in this reading is that it's showing me that this entire experience, as difficult as it's been, has been part of your spiritual evolution too. You've been learning about boundaries, about protecting your energy, about discernment, about the difference between being loving and being a doormat. You've been developing spiritual muscles that you're going to need for the next phase of your journey, and judgment is acknowledging that growth. Let me pull another card because I want to understand what you need to know about moving forward as these unexpected events begin to unfold. And we have the Nine of Pentacles here, and this is perfect. The Nine of Pentacles is the card of self-sufficiency, of enjoying the fruits of your own labor, of standing in your own garden and appreciating what you've cultivated through your own effort and discipline. This is one of the most empowered cards in the entire deck because it represents someone who has created their own abundance, who doesn't need anyone else to validate them or complete them or save them. In the context of everything we've been exploring, the Nine of Pentacles is showing me that as these people who persecuted you face their reckoning, as they deal with the destruction they've created from within, you are going to be in a completely different space energetically. You're going to be focused on enjoying your own life, appreciating your own growth, cultivating your own peace and prosperity. This is such an important message, Taurus, because there might be a temptation to get pulled into their drama when things start falling apart for them. There might be moments where you hear about what's happening and part of you wants to engage, wants to comment, wants to say, I told you so, or finally defend yourself. And the Nine of Pentacles is saying, don't do it. Stay in your own garden. Keep tending to your own growth. Let them have their experience without making it about you. The Nine of Pentacles represents a level of maturity and self-possession that comes from doing your inner work. It's about knowing who you are independent of anyone else's opinion or validation. It's about finding fulfillment within yourself, rather than seeking it externally. And this is the energy you've been cultivating throughout this entire ordeal, Taurus. Every time you refuse to engage with the persecution, every time you chose your peace over proving yourself, you were stepping more fully into your Nine of Pentacles energy. I'm seeing that as these unexpected events unfold, as the rapid changes indicated by the Eight of Wands happen, as the death transformation occurs and the judgment reckoning plays out, you're going to feel increasingly free. You're going to feel lighter. You're going to have more energy and attention available for creating the life you actually want rather than defending yourself against attacks or trying to manage other people's opinions of you. The Nine of Pentacles also speaks to financial and material stability. I'm picking up that there may be opportunities coming your way that are going to enhance your sense of security and abundance. While these other people are dealing with the consequences of their choices, you're going to be expanding and growing. And this isn't about competition or comparison. It's simply the natural result of focusing on building your own foundation versus focusing on tearing others down. What I love about the Nine of Pentacles in this position is that it's showing me you've learned to find joy and satisfaction in your own company, in your own accomplishments, in your own journey. The persecution you experienced, it could have made you bitter or hardened or mistrustful, but instead, it's taught you how to be more fully yourself, how to trust your own judgment, how to create happiness that doesn't depend on external circumstances or other people's behavior. There's also something here about luxury and refinement and appreciating beauty. The Nine of Pentacles is often depicted with beautiful gardens and fine things, suggesting someone who has cultivated not just survival, but actual enjoyment of life. And I'm picking up that this is part of your healing journey moving forward, Taurus, allowing yourself to experience pleasure, to surround yourself with beauty, to enjoy the sensory world without guilt or apology. This card is reminding you that you deserve good things. You deserve peace. You deserve abundance. You deserve relationships and experiences and circumstances that feel nourishing rather than draining. And you don't have to justify that deservingness to anyone. Your Nine of Pentacles energy is your birthright as someone who has done the work and maintained their integrity. Let me pull the next card because I want to see what the final outcome of all of this is going to be. And we have the Ace of Wands in Taurus. This is such a beautiful card to have in this position. The Ace of Wands is the card of new beginnings, of creative inspiration, of passion and excitement and fresh starts. It's the spark that ignites a new chapter, the initial burst of energy that begins a new creative project or venture or phase of life. When I see the Ace of Wands, I think about potential, about possibilities, about the universe handing you a gift and saying, here, create something amazing with this. After everything we've explored in this reading, after talking about persecution and denial and destruction and reckoning, the Ace of Wands is showing me that the ultimate outcome of all of this for you, Taurus, is going to be incredibly positive and generative. You're not just going to survive this experience, you're going to thrive. You're not just going to get through it, you're going to emerge with new creative energy, new inspiration, new enthusiasm for life. The Ace of Wands represents raw creative potential. It's like the universe is offering you a wand of pure fire, pure life force energy, and inviting you to direct it however you choose. After this period of dealing with negativity and persecution, after clearing away what no longer serves you through that death energy we saw earlier, you're going to have access to a level of creative and passionate energy that you haven't had in a while. I'm seeing that these unexpected events that are coming, as they unfold and remove the people and situations that have been draining your energy, you're going to feel inspired again. Ideas are going to start flowing. Projects that felt heavy or impossible are going to suddenly feel exciting and achievable. You're going to reconnect with passions and interests that maybe got pushed to the side while you were dealing with all the drama. The Ace of Wands is also showing me that there's going to be a new opportunity coming your way. Something fresh, something that hasn't existed in your life before. This could be related to your career, to a creative pursuit, to a new direction in life that you haven't considered yet. But whatever form it takes, it's going to feel exciting. It's going to feel aligned. It's going to feel like the universe is saying, yes, this is the path forward. What I find really significant about the Ace of Wands appearing after Judgment and the Nine of Pentacles is the progression we're seeing. First, there's the reckoning and the clearing away of what's false. Then there's the period of self-sufficiency and enjoying what you've built. And finally, there's this burst of new creative energy and possibility. It's like the universe is saying, okay, you've been through the test, you've maintained your integrity, you've built your foundation, now here's the reward for all of that work. The Ace of Wands carries this energy of confidence and boldness. After being persecuted, after having people try to diminish your light, it would be natural to become more cautious, more guarded, more hesitant to put yourself out there. But the Ace of Wands is showing me that you're actually going to feel braver than before. You're going to feel more willing to take risks, to be visible, to express yourself authentically without worrying so much about what other people think. This makes sense when I consider everything you've been through. The persecution tested you and you passed. You maintained your strength. You did your Eight of Cups work and walked away from what didn't serve you. You built your Ten of Pentacles foundation. You witnessed the judgment of those who tried to harm you. You cultivated your Nine of Pentacles independence. And now, having proven to yourself that you can handle difficult situations with grace and maintain your integrity under pressure, you're ready for this new beginning. The Ace of Wands is also about passion and desire, and really allowing yourself to want things. I'm picking up that there may have been a period where you had to suppress some of your desires or dreams because you were in survival mode, dealing with the persecution and protecting your energy. But now, with this new beginning energy coming in, you're going to reconnect with what you really want. Not what you think you should want, not what would be safe or acceptable to others, but what genuinely lights you up inside. I'm also seeing that the Ace of Wands brings a kind of magnetic quality. When you're connected to your authentic passion and creative energy, when you're excited about your life and your path, you naturally attract opportunities and people who resonate with that frequency. So as you step into this Ace of Wands energy, you're going to find that the right doors start opening, the right people start showing up, the right resources become available. What's beautiful about this is that it's such a contrast to the persecution energy. Those people were trying to block your light, to interfere with your path, to make your journey harder. But the universe is showing you that their efforts were ultimately futile. Not only did they not succeed in stopping you, but you're actually emerging from this experience more powerful, more clear, more connected to your creative life force than before. The Ace of Wands is also reminding you to trust your instincts and your enthusiasm moving forward. When something excites you, when something feels aligned, when something sparks that sense of yes inside you, follow it. Don't second guess yourself. Don't wait for permission. Don't dim your enthusiasm to make others comfortable. The Ace of Wands is pure, unfiltered life force energy, and it wants to flow through you without restriction. Let me pull one more card because I want to see if there's any final message or guidance for you as you navigate this transition. And we have the Knight of Cups here, and this is such a tender, beautiful energy to close with. The Knight of Cups is the romantic of the tarot, the dreamer, the one who follows their heart and isn't afraid to be vulnerable or emotional or idealistic. This knight arrives with an offer, with a message, with an invitation to open your heart again after it's been through battle. And after everything we've discussed about persecution and denial and destruction, the Knight of Cups is showing me that you're not going to become hardened or cynical from this experience. Here's what I'm really picking up from the Knight of Cups in this final position. Despite everything you've been through, despite the spiritual persecution you've experienced, despite watching people destroy themselves through their own denial, you're going to maintain your ability to hope, to dream, to love, to be open to beauty and connection and possibility. That's extraordinary, Taurus. That's the mark of someone who has truly done their spiritual work. The Knight of Cups carries this energy of emotional authenticity and romantic idealism that could easily be crushed by negative experiences. But in your case, it's showing me that your experiences have actually refined your emotional wisdom without destroying your capacity for feeling. You're going to be more discerning about who you open your heart to, absolutely. But you're not going to close your heart entirely. You're not going to become bitter or suspicious or unable to trust. I'm also seeing that the Knight of Cups may represent a specific person or opportunity that's coming into your life. This could be a romantic connection, but it doesn't have to be. It could also be a creative collaboration, a friendship, a mentor, someone who appreciates your sensitivity and your emotional depth rather than trying to exploit it or mock it. After dealing with people who were threatened by your light, the Knight of Cups suggests that you're going to encounter someone who celebrates it. What's really touching about the Knight of Cups appearing here is that it represents someone or something that approaches with pure intentions. This knight isn't playing games. He's not manipulating or using or persecuting. He's genuinely offering something of value, something heartfelt, something real. And after what you've been through, this kind of authentic emotional offering is going to feel like a gift. The Knight of Cups is also speaking to me about artistic expression and creative projects that come from the heart. I'm picking up that as you move into this new chapter with your Ace of Wands energy, you might feel called to express yourself in more emotionally vulnerable ways, maybe through writing or art or music or some other creative outlet. And the Knight of Cups is encouraging you to honor those impulses, to let yourself be seen in your full emotional range. There's something here too about not letting the persecution you experienced make you afraid of being soft or gentle or emotional. In a world that often values hardness and cynicism and emotional detachment, the Knight of Cups is a reminder that sensitivity is a strength. Your ability to feel deeply, to empathize, to stay open-hearted even after being hurt, these are gifts. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. I'm also seeing that the Knight of Cups brings a kind of healing energy with him. After the intensity of everything you've been through, after the spiritual warfare and the witnessing of others' self-destruction, you're going to enter a period where you can focus on healing your emotional body, nurturing your inner child, reconnecting with joy and playfulness and romance and beauty. The Knight of Cups is inviting you into that gentler space. What strikes me about having the Knight of Cups as the final card in this reading is the message of hope it carries. Yes, you've been through persecution. Yes, you've witnessed people destroying themselves through denial. Yes, there are unexpected and intense events coming that are going to shake up the situation. But at the end of all of that, what's waiting for you is beauty and connection and emotional fulfillment. The story doesn't end with the battle. It ends with the offering of the heart. The Knight of Cups is also reminding you that you get to choose how you respond to all of this, Taurus. You could choose to become hardened, to build walls around your heart, to approach future relationships and opportunities with suspicion and guardedness. And that would be understandable given what you've been through. But the Knight of Cups is suggesting a different path. The path of maintaining your emotional openness while also honoring your newfound wisdom and boundaries. This is about integration, really. You're integrating the strength and self-sufficiency and discernment you've developed through these challenges, but you're not letting those protective qualities completely override your natural warmth and emotional availability. You're becoming someone who is both strong and soft, both wise and innocent, both protected and open. That's the gift of the Knight of Cups in this position. I'm also picking up that the Knight of Cups wants you to know that you deserve to be pursued, to be courted, to be approached with respect and genuine interest. After experiencing persecution, you might have internalized some beliefs about not being worthy or being too much or being somehow wrong for just being yourself. And the Knight of Cups is here to counteract those lies. You are absolutely worthy of being treated with kindness and appreciation and care. As we close this reading, Taurus, I want you to really take in the full journey we've traced through these cards. You started with strength, with that inner resilience that has carried you through the persecution. You witnessed the Eight of Cups patterns of avoidance in those who targeted you. You understood through death that massive transformation is coming, that old structures are collapsing. You saw through the Eight of Wands that change is going to happen rapidly and unexpectedly. You recognized through the Ten of Pentacles that you've been building something real and lasting despite the attacks against you. You understood through Judgment that a divine reckoning is at hand for those who have been in denial and engaged in persecution. You claimed your Nine of Pentacles, independence, and self-sufficiency. You received the Ace of Wands promise of new creative beginnings and fresh starts. And finally, you were given the Knight of Cups invitation to remain open-hearted and hopeful as you move forward. This is such a powerful progression, Taurus. This reading is telling a story of someone who has been tested and has emerged victorious, not through aggression or retaliation, but through maintaining their integrity and trusting in divine timing. The persecution you experienced was real. The spiritual attacks were real. But they didn't succeed in changing who you are at your core. They didn't succeed in making you bitter or small or afraid. And now, as the unexpected events begin to unfold, as the people who persecuted you face the consequences of their own denial and self-destruction, you get to move forward into a beautiful new chapter. You get to create from a place of authentic passion. You get to enjoy the fruits of your labor. You get to open your heart to new possibilities. You get to be exactly who you are, without apology or fear. The universe has had your back this entire time, even when it didn't feel like it. Every moment of persecution was being witnessed. Every tear you cried was being counted. Every time you chose the high road when you could have chosen revenge, it was being noted. And now the balance is being restored. Justice is being served, not through your efforts, but through the natural unfolding of karmic law. So as you move forward from here, remember the lessons of these cards. Maintain your strength. Continue walking away from what doesn't serve you, like the Eight of Cups. Trust the death transformations that clear the way for new life. Allow the rapid changes of the Eight of Wands to happen without trying to control them. Keep building your Ten of Pentacles foundation. Trust the judgment process to unfold as it should. Enjoy your Nine of Pentacles independence. Embrace the Ace of Wands new beginnings with enthusiasm. And stay open to the Knight of Cups offerings of heart and beauty and connection. You've been through the fire, Taurus, and you've been refined by it rather than destroyed. You're entering a new season where the focus shifts from surviving persecution to thriving in your authentic power. The people who tried to dim your light are about to discover that the universe doesn't look kindly on those who attack others out of jealousy and fear. And you're about to discover just how bright you can shine when you're no longer having to defend yourself against spiritual attacks. This is your time. This is your season. Everything you've been building, everything you've been protecting, everything you've been becoming, it's all about to pay off in ways that exceed your expectations. The unexpected events that are coming, they're not happening to you. They're happening for you. They're clearing the path. They're removing the obstacles. They're setting the stage for the next beautiful chapter of your life. Trust the process, Taurus. Trust yourself. Trust the universe. You've done everything right, even when it felt like nothing was working. You've maintained your integrity, even when it would have been easier to compromise. You've chosen love over fear, growth over stagnation, truth over comfortable lies, and that's why you're going to come out of this situation stronger, clearer, more empowered than ever before. The persecution was never about you being wrong or bad or deserving of attack. It was about you being a mirror for people who couldn't face their own reflection. It was about you embodying qualities that others wanted but weren't willing to do the work to develop. It was about you following your path with authenticity while others were still pretending and performing. And all of that is about them, not you. So release any remaining guilt or self-doubt or questions about whether you could have handled things differently. You did exactly what you needed to do. You protected your energy. You maintained your boundaries. You refused to engage in the drama. You kept building your life even while under attack. That takes incredible strength and wisdom, and you should be proud of yourself for it. As these unexpected events begin to unfold, you might be tempted to watch or get involved or try to help the people who are facing their reckoning. The Knight of Cups energy in you might feel compassion for their suffering, and compassion is beautiful, but it doesn't mean you need to rescue them or explain things to them or make their lessons easier. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is allow people to experience the consequences of their choices so they can finally grow. Your job now is to focus on your own journey, on your own joy, on your own creative expression and emotional fulfillment. Let the universe handle the karma and the justice and the lessons that others need to learn. You've played your part simply by being yourself and maintaining your integrity. Everything else will unfold exactly as it should. I'm so excited for what's coming for you, Taurus. The Ace of Wands, new beginnings, the Knight of Cups, beautiful connections, the Nine of Pentacles, abundance and peace. You've earned all of it through your resilience and your refusal to let persecution change your essential nature. You've earned it through every moment you chose grace over retaliation, peace over drama, growth over stagnation. So step into this new chapter with confidence. Embrace the Ace of Wands energy and let yourself get excited about possibilities again. Open your heart to the Knight of Cups offerings even though you've been hurt. Trust that the unexpected events that are coming are ultimately going to free you and validate everything you've known to be true. You're moving from a season of spiritual warfare into a season of creative expression and emotional fulfillment. And that transition is going to feel like finally being able to breathe deeply again. Thank you so much for being here with me today, for trusting me with your energy and allowing me to read for you. I hope this reading has brought you clarity and confirmation and hope. Remember, you are so much stronger than you know, so much wiser than you give yourself credit for, and so much more loved by the universe than you might realize in difficult moments. If this reading resonated with you, I would love to hear about it. And if you know another Taurus who might need to hear this message, please share it with them. We're all in this together, learning and growing and supporting each other through the challenges and the triumphs. Sending you so much love and light as you navigate this powerful transition. Trust yourself, trust the process. Trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. You've got this, Taurus. You absolutely have got this.